It'll be a Monday night meeting for those Seahawks against these Lions, and both teams coming off a W, up 20-13. A strike by Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown, far more involved in the offensive attack this go-around. And to salt it away, inside 2 minutes, Goff, fleet of foot, gets down, gets the sticks, and gets the game. It's a win in the desert for the Lions against the Cardinals team that raised some eyebrows. Are they real? Jury's still out as Detroit comes away with the win. Now 2-1, 20-13 is your final. Goff, a couple feet shy of 200 yards through the air. It's St. Brown, 7 grabs for 75 and a touchdown. Back in studio, Joe Musso, pleased to be alongside Ryan Wilson. Ryan, this was the credential check. This was the can we see some ID? Are you for real? Are you of age to play with the big fellas? And I don't know that we got an answer of no, but we certainly didn't get the yes that some had expected here out of Arizona. What did you make of their effort here against a team that many have circled as an NFC hopeful?
As someone who's 5'10", I can say this. Are you this tall to ride the ride? And not yet. And I had high hopes for Arizona coming into this game. I thought they had a chance to win this football game, given the way they played the first 2 weeks. They were up 17-3 against the Bills in week 1. They won last week on Kyler's arms, legs, and Marvin Harrison Jr. And the Lions, we just talked about this. They haven't played pretty in terms of the way we've seen Ben Johnson do it offensively last year. But they're doing the right things, finding ways to win, running the football effectively and efficiently. And on Arizona, it still feels like they're not quite there. I don't want to say they're a year away. I think this team has a chance to win more than they lose this year and battle for maybe one of those wild card spots. But I was hoping to see more here, and it just felt like, not that the moment was too big, but that they didn't show up 4 or 5 times that they needed to show up. And the Lions, even though they had the turnovers and some miscues, did show up. They made the plays that they had to make, including the hook and ladder, which we hadn't seen in some time. Got them in the end zone, and that could end up being the difference when you're talking about playoffs in a month's time.
Every game that we watch is going to have some officiating oddities, let's call it. But this one had a big one.
Too, right
at the 2-minute mark. 2:01 on the clock, but they whistle it dead. Would have been a pick six the other way. So instead of 14-14, a couple plays later, we're 21-7 in favor of this Lions team. I only offer that just to give some context to what they were asked to do on a home stage against one of the best teams and having to play against a scenario like that, these Cardinals. But let's talk about Detroit, because you just said a moment ago, this hasn't been last year's Detroit just yet. This hasn't been the unbroken road of green lights. It's taken a little bit of growing pain early on here to get to this record. Where have you seen them a little bit inefficient? Where do you want to see Detroit be better if they are going to take care of unfinished business from a year ago?
So when you look at their drive metrics and their points per drive, they're middle of the road in the NFL. Their turnovers per drive, they're top 10 in turning the ball over. And those aren't necessarily things that you want. That said, when you look at their traditional numbers, they are crushing it in the run. And we saw that play out again today. David Montgomery went for 105. Jahmyr Gibbs, who you make the case is a legit RB1.
The guy.
83 yards. He was the recipient of the hook and ladder that we talked about earlier in terms of scoring. And the defense under Aaron Glenn, with some dudes finally, it took 2 years to get to where they are now. We know what Aiden Hutchinson can do, but they have guys in the back end, they have guys at the linebacker position, and they are all rallying to the football. And they held the Cardinals to 13 points. It feels like 2 years ago, this would have been a 30-29 game. It's 20-13. And these are the games that you can win not playing your best or your most efficiently from down 1 to down 4. And you stack wins, we talk about that, and then as you get into October, rolls into November, December, you're where you want to be. And I think this has been the growth for this team, not so much the offense. We know who Jared Goff is and these offensive playmakers are, but that the defense has been able to rally and hold fort when the offense isn't necessarily clicking.
And to correct myself, in that exchange before the half, 20-14, a missed PAT, but the point remains the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
A massive swing with 0 points by Detroit in the second half, just a field goal by Arizona. All right, consecutive games with a rushing touchdown as we wax poetic about Jahmyr Gibbs. I guess the depth chart still says RB1 and David Montgomery, and he is a touchdown machine, the former Chicago Bear. Looking good in that Honolulu blue as he has for the last few years, and he does have a complement in the form of Gibbs. The way they deploy those two backs, lethal, as Detroit moves forward with a W.